Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today we're taking a close look at RedCat Holdings, ticker RCAT. You shared some interesting documents on this drone technology company, and well, our goal here is to really unpack what it all means for you.
That's right. We've got three main pieces here. There's a due diligence report dated May 13th, 2025, also an overview and outlook doc, and a Q1 earnings preview, also from the 13th. So pretty current information to work with. Looks like a good foundation.
Okay, great. And RedCat, they operate in, well, it seems like a really fast-moving sector, right? Drone tech, focused on military, government, and commercial uses too.
And they have subsidiaries, mentions of Teal Drones and FlightWave Aerospace. They're known for products like the Black Widow, Trichon, and something called FANG, described as the first NDAA-compliant FPV drone line for military precision.
FPV, first-person view. Right. Okay. Interesting niche. So we see notes on financials, their market position, some upcoming stuff. Let's dig into these documents and see what jumps out.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Maybe the financials.
Let's do that. Okay. Recent financial performance. Q1 2025 revenue. Wow. Approximately 7.485 cents. That's way above estimates, like over 211% higher. That seems like a really positive sign on the surface.
It definitely grabs your attention, that kind of beat.
Yeah.
A huge jump. But, you always have to look a bit deeper. Is this a one-off thing, a big contract landing, or the start of something sustained?
Because looking back...
Well, yeah, if you use their history, the quarterly revenue has been pretty volatile. Q4 2024 was only about $1.5 million, and Q3 2024 was around $2.8 million. So seeing $7.5 million in Q1, it's a big swing from those previous numbers. Makes you cautious about just extrapolating that one quarter.
That's a really important point. So impressive number, yes, but maybe not proof of consistent growth just yet, given the choppiness before.
Exactly. And then if you connect that revenue to profitability, well, the earnings per share forecast for the whole fiscal year ending April 2025, it's still expected to be negative, around minus $0.21 per share. And EPS, that's profit per share, a key metric.
Okay, so still forecasting a loss for the year. But the Q1 EPS itself, that actually beat estimates, right? It came in at negative $0.08 versus an expected negative $0.10. So a bit better than feared for that quarter.
It was a positive surprise for Q1, yes. But again, context matters. The previous quarters, Q4 and Q3 of 2024, they actually missed EPS estimates, and by pretty wide margins, according to the notes.
So it kind of reinforces that volatility picture, even on the earnings side. One good quarter doesn't erase the previous misses entirely.
Right. It puts the focus squarely on, what's their path to consistent profitability. And because they have these ongoing negative earnings, looking at something like a traditional price-to-earnings ratio, well, it isn't very helpful right now.
Because there are no positive earnings to compare the price to. Makes sense.
Exactly. The PE ratio sort of loses its meaning in that situation.
Okay. And some other metrics like debt to equity, free cash flow, return on equity. These specific documents didn't detail those, but the due diligence report mentioned you'd find that stuff in their official SEC filings.
Well, standard procedure, yeah. Those filings would have the full financial picture. So maybe we shift gears slightly, talk about the business itself, the industry.
Good idea. So RedCat, clearly focused on drones, integrating the hardware and the software, targeting military, government, and commercial sectors. That seems pretty broad, but maybe the military gov part is key.
It seems that way. Their competitive advantage, you'd guess, probably lies in that specialized proprietary drone tech for defense. It's a very specific market with high barriers to entry, though these sources don't give us details on, say, patents or their cost advantages.
Right. And you mentioned those government contracts. Do these documents give any sense of how long those contracts typically last or the potential size? That could help understand future revenue visibility.
No, unfortunately, these summaries don't dive into specific contract terms like duration or total value. That's info you might sometimes glean from company announcements or filings over time. But based on the financials we just discussed, well, it paints RedCat as, an innovative company in this niche defense drone market, but maybe more of a challenger. The volatile revenues suggest they aren't quite a dominant player yet, maybe reliant on landing those big, perhaps less frequent government deals.
Compared to maybe more established players with steadier revenue streams.
Could be. Now, the good news for them is the overall drone industry is growing. You've got military modernization programs driving demand, plus more commercial uses popping up, surveillance, logistics, things like that. So the tailwinds are there.
Okay, a growing market is definitely helpful, but what about the risks? What should someone be aware of?
Well, for any company in this space, Regulatory changes are always a potential issue. Governments can change rules about drone usage, and technology moves fast, especially in defense tech. There's always the risk your cutting-edge product today is less competitive tomorrow.
And dependency on government budgets, I suppose.
Absolutely. Government spending priorities can shift, affecting contracts. That's an inherent risk in the defense sector.
Okay. What about the people running the show? Management and governance. Did these docs offer much insight there?
Not really. No specifics on the CEO's tenure or the track records of the executive team in these particular summaries. That's often info you'd find on their website or in proxy statements.
But they do seem communicative. Mention of an earnings call.
Yes, they seem to engage with investors. That Q1 call was scheduled for May 14th. So they're putting themselves out there, answering questions. And things like insider trading activity. Again, that's public info found in SEC Form 4 filings, not usually in these kinds of overview docs.
Got it. Okay, let's talk valuation and maybe circle back to some specific risks for investors. We didn't see a price-to-book ratio mentioned.
No, and dividends. Not likely, right, given the negative earnings.
Makes sense. Most early-stage tech companies focused on growth don't pay dividends. They reinvest any cash back into the business.
Right. They're trying to build the company, not distribute profits yet. And beta, the stock's volatility measure. Also not in these docs, but easy enough for you to look up on financial websites if you're curious how it moves relative to the market.
So summing up the risks again. Reliance on government contracts is a big one. Budget shifts, regulations.
Definitely. And that technological obsolescence risk we mentioned. Defense tech evolves quickly. It's interesting, though, that these particular sources didn't flag any specific major lawsuits or, say, supply chain problems. Those can also be significant risks sometimes.
It's always good to see how they stack up against peers. The docs mention AeroVironment and Kratos.
And compared to them, based on this info, RCAT shows, well, that more volatile revenue growth. And they're not profitable currently, whereas some peers might be. It reinforces that challenger positioning.
And some of those established peers might pay dividends, which RCAT doesn't.
Correct. Different stage, different financial profile.
Okay, so looking ahead. Recent news, future outlook. That earnings call on May 14th sounds like the big near-term event.
Absolutely. That call and the Q1 results themselves could really influence how the market views the company going forward. Did they offer color on that big revenue number? What's the outlook?
Well, speaking of outlook, RCAT did project some pretty significant revenue for the full calendar year 2025. The range mentioned was $80 to $120. That's a big target, presumably counting on those military contracts and maybe partnerships kicking in.
That's ambitious. Definitely implies confidence they can land more big deals. And they recently did a $30 registered direct offering, raising money.
Right, to fund corporate purposes and working capital. That suggests they could find investors willing to put in capital, which can be seen as a vote of confidence to some extent.
It can. So strengths seem to be that focus on military and government work, a potentially large and somewhat protected market. Weaknesses, or maybe red flags, are the lack of detailed recent financials in these summaries, and that very dependence on government spending cycles.
And partnerships. They mention one with Palantir Technologies. That sounds potentially significant.
It could be. Palantir is a major player in data analytics, often working with government and defense. A partnership there could be a positive catalyst, depending on the specifics. Overall, market sentiment seemed cautiously optimistic heading into that earnings report based on these docs from the 13th.
Okay, let's try to synthesize this for you, the listener. RCAT Holdings. It's a really interesting but kind of complex story, isn't it? You've got a company in a growing field, drones, with this huge recent revenue number in Q1 that looks great at first glance.
But then you layer on the history, that past volatility in revenue and the fact they're still losing money overall, even with that Q1 beat. It really raises questions about sustainability, profitability, the long-term trajectory.
And their focus, military and government, that provides a certain type of customer base, maybe more stable in some ways. But as we discussed, it comes with its own risks, budget reliance, regulatory hurdles.
So what we seem to have is an innovative company trying to make its mark in a specialized drone market. That upcoming earnings call we keep mentioning that feels crucial. It could provide a lot more clarity on whether they can hit those big revenue goals and make progress towards profit.
That Q1 revenue beat is definitely encouraging. You can't ignore it. But stepping back, looking at the bigger picture, the inconsistency, the losses, that's just as critical for you to keep in mind. So yeah, keep an eye on that May 14th earnings call info if you can find the replay or transcript. Could offer some really vital clues about their future.
Which leads to a key question for you to consider, right?
Right.
How do you weigh this kind of company? Potential high growth, yes, but also significant volatility and uncertainty. How does that compare to, say, more established, maybe slower growing, but potentially more stable players in defense tech?
What kind of risk profile fits with how you're trying to understand this market? Something to think about.
And if you want to go even deeper, definitely check out RedCat's own investor relations website. That's where you'll find the official SEC filings, press releases, maybe even the replay of that earnings call eventually, the primary sources.
Absolutely. And if you found this analysis helpful today, please do subscribe, like, and maybe leave us a comment. It really helps us continue bringing you these kinds of focused explorations.